I'm spending my summer here in Chapel Hill and able for me to go take a couple classes to get ahead. I figure if I come now my freshman year, then I won't have to go another 3 years here at Carolina. I can really take that time to work on all basketball. And this also gives me an opportunity to come play an Olympic Sports Festival with a great bunch of guys. One of my goals I've set for myself is to make the '88 Olympic team. So it's really a letdown for me when I didn't make the Pan Am team. But I asked Coach Smith was any opportunity for me to play on the Sports Festival the second year. And he said it might be, so he tried and everything he could to get me on the team. And I was fortunate enough to get on the team. So I'm using this now as a stepping stone to make myself better and make my chances better to make the 1988 Olympic team. I'm very excited about being a part of the Carolina tradition, and I think it's an honor for all players to play here. Getting the opportunity to play under Coach Smith, I believe, is one of the greatest coaches to ever coach the game. Been playing with the great players out here now. I know we see a lot of publicity last year, but I believe all that came from playing with the great players I played with, such as Kenny Smith, Joe Wolf, and Dave Paxton. So most of the guys are really sagging off of those other players I mentioned, and I was just able to hit the easy shots and the great passes I received. On the court, I think in situations, teams might look to me to get the ball inside because I have been working hard this summer and able to become a better post player and help the team offensively and defensively whenever possible. I think I have a strong desire to win, and I really don't like losing that much. I don't think anyone does. So when I go out and play, I try to go out and play as hard as I can, and I think I have something to prove to myself and to other people here. I want to show that I can play whenever I come out, and I am mentally prepared to play. So I think that's what I try to keep in mind here at all times.
J.R. Reid, of course, given the honor, along with Abel Heinrichs, of carrying the torch in the opening ceremonies. One of the top-rated college basketball high school players in a long, long time when he was brought here to North Carolina, and had an outstanding freshman year last year. And you would think that if you asked J.R. Reid who his idol would be, the person he most admired, he would probably give you a long list of wonderful NBA players over the years or former North Carolina players. But that's not true. The person he most admires is his father, Herman Reid, who played for the Baltimore Colts.
No question about that. So you can certainly credit Mr. Herman Reid for doing a great job with his son, who, by the way, is only the 6th freshman to start his very first game for the Tar Heels over in the Dean Dome. And, of course, Dean Smith, very impressive building when you walk in. I mean, imagine J.R. Reid, a senior in high school, being recruited by Dean Smith, walking in, looking up at the banners with James Worthy, all the way from the Worthy era back to Billy Cunningham. So recruiting not too tough in the Dean Dome. All the seats are Carolina blue. We're going back to skating in just a couple of seconds, and there's a rumor sweeping through the Greensboro Coliseum that Brian Boitano may attempt a quadruple toe loop. He's cleared with air traffic control. We're coming back.
The ice dancing competition continues here in Greensboro. It's the free dance program. Suzanne Semenick and Scott Gregory.
And this is when we get on the suspenders and we have a great time.
The next couple, representing the East team, Suzanne Semenick and Scott Gregory.
And they've decided to do their show program.
Now, don't leave your television sets for the next few minutes. You're going to want to see what Susan and Scott have to offer.
Now, the first thing they do is play a little bit with the audience here by hiding from them. The more creative you can be with ice dancing, the better. And certainly this number exemplifies what you can do with choreography and just a very simple prop, which is also part of the wardrobe. Here go the suspenders.
Now these are our reigning United States dance champions.
Needless to say, ice dancing is difficult enough, and they're doing very difficult things. But you add all of these changes in position and using the suspenders as his arms, and all of a sudden you've added incredible difficulty to what should be a show program. So it's great that they're competing with it.
Oh, take a look at that.
Now she's locked inside of his suspenders. I would love to have been there the day that they worked this program out, or the many days, I guess, that they worked this program out.
Judy, who actually comes up with the ideas? Is it the skaters themselves or the coaches?
Well, they work with Ron Ludington, and he has a whole group of coaches. I'm not really sure who came up with this idea, but they have a lot to do with what they do on the ice. I know that. Ron likes them to be individuals.
Oh, how about that move?
And even with all of this action going on the ice, they're emoting to the audience, and there's an interchange in between them. It's wonderful. This is what dancing should be.
Now, what we are seeing here tonight at the Olympic Festival is ice dancing free of all of the international restrictions we see in one-on-one competition, if you will.
Now, none of the moves in ice dancing have names because each ice dancer does his own moves. Absolutely brilliant. And what a wonderful crowd to do such a great number to. Oh.
I'll tell you what, that one gave me goosebumps.
Suzanne Seminick and Scott Gregory.
Still having fun with the suspenders. That's one thing about ice dancing. You can really have fun with ice dancing as an audience and also as the dancers.
It was an absolutely stunning performance.
They did so many unusual things. For instance, right here, Susie's going to go underneath his legs with that great look on her face, and she slides. It gives a great depth. It's like painting a picture and giving a little bit more depth to it by taking her down to the ice. Now a little bit of footwork here, and she's going into that cartwheel over his in front of him, and then he goes over her back. Incredible timing on that move. And again, all of the emotion to the audience. Just wonderful.
Well, in case you're wondering how Susan Seminick and Scott Gregory got to be the United States dance champions, there's one reason why. And David Santee's unofficial score, oh, that's just about as perfect as you can get. You'd have been happy with that, wouldn't you, Judy?
Oh, absolutely, and they should be too, but they deserve it.
Now, representing the East team, Suzanne Seminick and Scott Gregory. Well, if you like that performance, much more figure skating still to come from the Olympic Festival.
Team is training here in Bozeman for about a week, and it's nice to be able to get our team together for pretty much, you know, every month, just so the coach is able to monitor all the different athletes and how they're training and how they're adjusting to the training. He lives in Butte, Montana, and that's where I'm spending most of the summer. But most of the rest of the athletes are in the Midwest, so it's kind of good for all of us to get together and so he can see them off and on, where I get to see him almost every day. I used to train alone almost all the time. Living in Champaign, Illinois, I was pretty much the only one there. So last summer and this summer I've moved to Butte, Montana, which is where Mike, our coach, is. And there's also a couple other skaters there, so it makes training a little bit easier and nicer, a little bit more fun. When you have other people around, it's always a pleasure to me. Also, it makes it a little bit easier in the aspect that there's a little bit of competition, I guess, and it's able to push you more. Whether there's people in front of you or whether they're behind you, it's still like you're getting pushed. And for me, that's what's going to help me the most.
Good job. You know, workload, we're going to determine for each one of the training devices that you do. When we're on the ice, it'll be how fast you're going. Now, because we'll be training in
I think basically when you get to the top
conditions will be more
level and you're looking at the medals, there's several people up there with a lot of talent. There's a lot of people are doing the same types of training, and the edge comes from, I think you haven't done speed work, but then the other edge comes from how you feel about it upstairs, and being very positive about what you're doing.
A lot of people think that the mental aspects are almost 90% of what comes out. You know, if you do the right training, you know, 90% of it could be mental once you get on the starting line. And I think as far as I go, I have a positive attitude, and I really don't like to try to think negative on too many things. And maybe if there are some negative things, you just try to look for the more positive ones and try to forget about the negative ones.
Bonnie Blair, one of the outstanding, I mean truly outstanding speed skaters in the world. She holds the world's record in the 500 meters. And here at the Olympic Festival, there are 4 speed skating events. One of them is a relay, but she is the United States Olympic Festival record holder in all 4 events. But she is not competing at the festival this year for a very good reason.
Yeah, she's getting ready, Gail, for the outdoor competition of Calgary and the long performance there. The boxing is going on behind us right now, getting a little deafening. You mentioned speed skating. Bonnie Blair jumps to the forefront, of course. In '85 in Baton Rouge, she swept the 4 events that Gail's talking about, and then she replaced an injured man on the men's relay team and captured a record 5th gold medal. So let's go down to ringside and find out what the commotion is all about. Al?
A short night for Donnie also. And so, Lyle says, I like the 156-pound division. Well, if you've joined us here, as you have live, a look at Donnie Giron. He just was leveled by Frank Lyles. Take a look at it. Thunder in the right hook. Boom. And Frank Lyles, who just stepped up to the 156-pound division after being a 147-pounder last year and winning this Fest championship, shows us that he has power as a 156-pound. Now Frank Lyles moves ahead. We'll see what he can do in this new division. Let's go back to you, Jim.
All right, Al, the roar was deafening here, but speaking of the roar, let's go back. Bonnie Blair, we were talking about, the great speed skater, trains out in the quiet and beauty of Bozeman, Montana. And back to the Greensboro Coliseum, here's Phil Stone.
All right, Jim Kelly. Fortunately, none of what we just saw a moment ago happens in speed skating. Bonnie Blair is back at the 1987 Olympic Festival. But Bonnie, you've hung up your skates and instead taken over some ESPN commentating duties. And tomorrow we're going to see some very exciting speed skating right here at the Greensboro Coliseum.
Yeah, I think it is going to be pretty exciting. You have the top 16 skaters in both men and women, and you also have what's going to be the Olympic team next year when they go there to the Olympics, even though they'll be exhibition.
A total of 10 Olympic Festival gold medals in your skating career. I suppose one of the reasons you had to hang it up, they got a little bit too heavy to carry home to Champaign.
Yeah, I guess so.